Hi, Nicholas here. Welcome to the Akousunesis method and Merry Christmas. A couple of days to Christmas. Okay, we've got another John Thompson. So if you go over to my website, courses, John Thompson, grade 1, exercise 5. Swans on the Lake. So we're just going through the book. So I've streamlined it better now. So fine tweaking. So we're going to look at the chords C, G, F, and E. And here's the sheet music, right? So it's a 3/4 timing, right? But we're not going to focus on the timing right yet because it's a little boring, the piece. It's sort of a flowing thing. We're just going to concentrate on making our own timing and making it sound the way we want it to sound, right? And then later on, we can muck around with trying to get this right. But basically, all that's doing there, it's just 1, 2. So it's just a waltz, right? But it's extremely. If you're going to play it like this and sing it like that, it's just awful, right? So we have to make it nice. So that's your job today. Your job is to make it sound nice. So we're going to be concentrating on what we're singing. We're going to be singing to the words, right? And so the first thing we need to do, though, is break it into chords, right? Now, the way I've gone about this is we're going to use, so the chords are all here, right? So we're just going to rely on the bass note, all right? And that's going to be the foundation of our chord. So we've got a C there, so it's going to be C, right? And it's going to be G, right? So it's just a fifth up, right? Now with the left hand, I'm not including it now because this is too much information for you. I've separated the left hand and I've put them into exercises. So I find this a bit more useful. So with the left hand, we have finger placement exercises you can practice. So you can sort of do that separately. And then I've added a little bit more. So these are taken from the song, what the song's doing, right? So let's have a quick look. So we just C is our foundation note, right? Root of the exercise. So we're going up first and then down, and then you can just loop that. So pinky on 1, left pinky on 1, right there, right? And thumb on 5. And we're just going up then down. So that's the first left-hand exercise, right? And then we've got index on 4, right? Interval 4, thumb on interval 5. And again, we're just going up and down, right? And then we've got 1 and 2, left pinky on 1 and 2. So these are things you can get your left hand warmed up with, and you can start doing that because these patterns are used in the song, right? So, but with every chord we have here, there's no slash chords, so the base of the chord is this note anyway. It's the 1. So it's the 1 on every chord here. So we're learning chords, right? We're learning to play with chords. So we don't need to put that information because it's too much information for the eye. And the concept is to reduce information, all right? So I'll tell you, we're going to do a different approach now. Right? Instead of going straight into the melody, we're going to just start with the song skeleton and just look at that. Right? So the song skeleton will give you the flow of the piece, or the direction of what the piece is doing, and you can really listen for those intervals that are making the piece unique, like the 6, for instance. So let's just go for the 3. Now C, G, so we'll start with C, right? Left hand is on bass, right? So really with the song skeleton, we don't want to get too complicated, but we'll just use the bass note. Excuse me. And we've got the 3, right? And we'll put our hands as just on every, like that, right? I haven't put the fingers here now because you're at a stage that you need to start working these out yourself, right? Now you can tell by where the song's going where you need to put your fingers, right? The highest, for instance, the highest interval here is the 6, right? So it's going to be just, you can just keep your hands there. You're not going to be moving too much, right? Right. So 3, 6, 3, 6. Right. So sorry, it's not going up. Sorry, I did the wrong thing then. 3. It's actually, this is called an anchor note. Right? We haven't done any lessons on anchor notes. Anchor note is when you stay in one location and the chords change. So we're anchoring here. So it's a C, and then it's a G. So, sorry, it's the chord G. It's the chord C, chord G, and now we're on a 6, right? The note F. So we'll be talking intervals. When I say a letter, I'm referring to a chord, right? If I say C, I don't mean the note C, I mean the chord C, right? Notes, I'll either say the note like that, the note E, or I'll just say the interval, right? Because we're learning to be thinking in intervals, right? So 3, 6, 3, 6. I'm adding more in my left hand because it's just a habit. So 3, 6, 3. So there's the 3. There's the C, the root of the C of the chord. It's the root of the chord. It's also the bass note because it's the lowest note, right? Then the root of the chord here, G. Now we're happy to play. That's a third, right? So it's the third of the chord, which is a pretty important chord. Now we don't have a third here on the G, but it's still G. The third would be either put in here. It's the only really place to put in the third because you don't want to put it up here. That'll be a high third. It'll be a different melody, right? And it's far away from the 6, which is nice, right? You could even put it down here, but it sounds too muddy. When you start to put thirds below this C, it starts to sound a bit muddy. So we're just focusing on what we're doing with a skeleton, and then F, right? So F now, we can either use our index to hit that F, or what I want to start getting you to do now, right? Because we're getting a little more advanced, right? We want to start to learn to jump our hands now, right? Because we've got to practice to get those hands moving into the chords, right? So here's two patterns I want you to do here. We've got the third up here, right? And we want to get a G. We want to get to the ones. So we're on each one of these. It's the root is the bass note, right? So we've got to get down here. So we've got here to here. So if you look at my hand on the left hand here, it's just a 1, 3, 5 with the thumb on the 5. Now I can keep that up there and spread the hand. If you've got small hands, you might not be able to quite reach that, right? Then you can just do that, right? And so I'm doing a 1, a index on 5, right? Pinky on 1, index on 5, and thumb on high 1 over the chord G. So we're C, and it's the same note, right? So the note's not moving. And you can practice that. And then we have F. Then all I want you to do, because we're on G, right? See, F is just down, 1. You don't change the shape of your hand. Keep the shape the same and just move down. And you'll find that index is on the 5th. We'll hit the 5th. And a 5 is fine. That's harmonizing. You're putting in an extra note. You can not play that if you don't want to play it. So now on the left hand, we're just playing an octave, low, high, and a 1. Doesn't matter which one you play them together, play them separate. It's the same note. So the F now is on the 6. So now we come down, the melody comes down. So we're just here, right? And then on the E minor, right? Here's E minor. So E minor's here, right? The +5 is the note C, right? There's a 5th rule. It's just a semitone up, right? So that's a +5. So these intervals here are the interesting ones. The +5, you want to be, because in the key of C, right? If we hear all the chords in the key of C, right? When we get to the E minor chord, right? You can see that there is a +5 which remains. So there's your reference is the 1. the +5 remains in key, right? And now we have a -2 also, right? Nice to add to melodies, although it's harsh there, but it can be quite nice there in the right context. The context being the melody, what it's doing, the chord progression, right? It might sound a bit rough there, right? But when you start putting words to it and then you put it to a melody, and you put a melody to it and then you play it over some chord combinations, these can sound beautiful, right? So I know it's not convincing because it does sound harsh, but believe me, they can sound, if in the right context, quite nice. And you'll see, as this is an example here, right? So let's go now. So you can practice that. So the song doesn't do anything other interesting than that. So it has a 6 on the G too. There's the G. So we can practice this. There's the 6 on the F, right? And then the comes down. So when we're on the F, we're just flowing down to the E minor. Has that, that feeling of sort of like you're pausing a little bit too. You want to pause. So the song skeleton can give you an idea in the direction of what the song's doing. So it's reduced information, right? And it's very focused. So you're focusing on just one thing at a time. And you're focusing on listening for what the song is doing. Very powerful song skeletons, are very powerful, because what happens is, as long as you can get that melody note at the chord change, you'll find that your fingers will find the other notes. And it's how we train our ear too, to find melodies on the piano. It's a great tool, the song skeleton. So let's get to the song itself, right? And we know it's a waltz, right? So, but we're not going to be concerned about the timing, right? This is why we learn this from starting here, rather than trying to get timing right. The worst thing you can do is start on a piece of sheet music and try to get timing correct. That's the worst thing you could learn to do. Right? It's slow, right? You're not confident. You don't even know the notes yet. You're not confident of you don't know chords yet. You don't know anything really, and you're just starting on timing, trying to get timing, but you're trying to get the notes right, and you're trying to do it all together. And you shouldn't be looking at timing. Timing you should hear. You should never see it. You should hide timing information. That's why I don't like sheet music for using it as a crutch. It's great as giving you information. It can give you a lot of information, sheet music, for archiving and that. And you can put a lot on a piece of paper like this. And to give... So if you're composing a song and you want to give your ideas to someone else, sheet music is one way to do it. There's other ways to do it too. It's called recordings. You can give recordings. A multi-track's probably the ultimate on a multi-track. But on one sheet of paper, it can give you quite a lot of information. But to use it as a crutch to play, it's really bad. It's not good. And you know how difficult, everyone knows how difficult sight reading is. And when people start to sight read, what they're doing is they're converting it to patterns in their head anyway. And they're doing what I'm showing you now, but they do it in their head while they're looking at that. And they might not even realize they're doing it a lot of the times, but they visualize groups as chords, and then they know how to find those groups on the keyboard. You might as well just go straight to the chords. It's like, so, all right, so let's get to starting here. Stately as. So, stately as. Now, so as a waltz should be going, stately as princess bee, swans part the lily tree, lilies and glide. We're not going to worry about a waltz at this stage. We're just going to... How would you sing it? You'd go, how would you sing it? Okay, I'm C. I'm going to put my pinky down there on the C. I'm going to fill out the rest of the notes here, right? Okay. And your left-hand patterns, again, will help you, right? So then what are we doing here? So 3, 5, 4. So the 3, 5, 4 over the C, if you look at it, 3, 5, 4, and then you get to the G. It's the same notes, right? They're the same notes, but now there's the G, 6, 1, and it's a -7, a tone down. So it's 6, 1, -7, right? So we're anchoring. We're anchoring at 3 notes of a melody, and we're changing chords, right? So this is an anchor pattern. So, and it's done in music all the time. It's done in pop songs, so, you know, where you'd have either a pattern or a note, and you'll change chords over that one little pattern. And then 3, 5 again. And then we've got 6, 5, 4, right? Lily's Glide. Now, okay, so we've got the first bit going. And that's the melody, right? Now, how are we going to sing it and play it? How do we want to do it? Because we want to put our personality in it and the way, and each one of you will sing it and try to do it differently. And I encourage that. I don't encourage you to look at the sheet music and just try to make a waltz. If a waltz is your thing, do it, right? But you need to find the rhythm yourself. It's got to come from you, right? You got to think about stately as. I actually like stately as. I like holding the as. You know, I'll probably change it to a 4/4 timing, or I might keep it 3/3, but I might do this. Stately as one princess, the princess, the. So you could just put a bar in between of 3 timing. So there's things you can do to adjust the timing. And if you want to, I was just tapping my foot there just to show you. But I wouldn't even suggest tapping your foot at this stage, right? Just concentrate on listening for the intervals. Stately as princess thee, swans part the lilies and glide under the willows. Right? So that's the idea, right? And now you might not play it exactly the way I played it, right? I want you to play it the way you think it feels to you, right? So you take your time, right? Stately, stately, we're going high, right? Stately, but we're going high. Sometimes you do want to muck around with the melody, and I also encourage you to do that. We don't have to stick to this, right? Because we're learning to be creative too, right? So, and a lot of these songs, you know, they're designed for beginners, kids, you know, and so if you're a child, you can still be creative too. You don't have to stick to what you're told all the time, right? And you want it to be fun, right? I'm not telling you to muck up. You've got to actually work hard. It's very dedicated, you know, work, playing piano. But you can make it enjoyable by not being too rigid about it, right? Stately, stately as princess, the swans part the lily and glide under the willows. And then it just goes, are they, so these are sort of like, are they enchanted? So how would you do that? You'd go, are they Are they enchanted? So I wouldn't do it 1, 2, 3. I'd probably hold it to a shorter note. So why they are enchanted, soon to be free again, free under the willows. Now, a lot of the times, even before you start to put the voice in, you can just muck around with the melody. Right? And you can start to put a few more notes and work with it. Right? So that's the idea and the concept, okay? I'm not sure with these lessons whether to go through more of this or not. I need to get some feedback from people. If I'm not getting feedback, I don't know whether to keep on going, because all I know is when I look at my videos that the engagement is only, a few minutes anyway, up to, 5 minutes or whatever. So it's really difficult to work out. But anyway, so next we want to move from the numbers, right? So we're going to go through the song and just practice the song, and then we're going to get to a point where we're happy with the melody. And it doesn't matter if we add other intervals or change it, but we muck around with it here at this location, because now we've started to memorize. We've played a few times. We're starting to memorize that melody in our head, right? We want to memorize it from listening, like reading the melody in our head, rather than just looking down all the time. Because when you're looking at your hands, that's good, right? You're better off looking at your hands than you are at a page, right? But you're visualizing the movement of your hands, and they're all memory associations you can create. But one of them is the most important one, is to be able to hear the melody with your ear. And it's good to know that it's add those other memory associations. Okay, it's the same note over those chords. It's the same sequence, the pattern. That's a nice memory association you can make. And then it comes down, and then it comes down. So the flow of your hands, it goes up and then it comes down. And these are other memory associations you can make. When you're listening for a melody, and you say you're working out a song, you want to listen for, when you're listening for whether the tune's going up or down. You're not necessarily listening for the note names. You're not listening, say, oh, that's a C, or that's not what you're doing. You're listening to go, oh, it's gone up, oh, it's gone down, oh, it's the same note now. And that's extremely useful information, because what you're doing there, it's how we hear it anyway, right? We're not trying to pinpoint absolute notes. We're not trying to listen and go, well, that's C sharp, D sharp, or whatever. You'll find that your hand actually will fall on the note in time. You'll find it much quicker, right? And as soon as you find your first note of a melody, it's all referenced from that. You'll find the other notes very quickly, right? So it's usually the first note. Now, it's because absolute pitch, do you have absolute pitch? I don't really think there is a thing as absolute pitch, because all you need is a reference note in your head. So I can find notes quickly. I can sing the note and I've got the note, but do I have absolute pitch? I don't know. Or do I have a reference note in my head that I know what it is? I'm not as good as saying the note if I hear it, but my hands seem to know. They find it pretty quickly. So, and once you find the initial start note, it's the reference. And so your hand moves to the reference of the melody, where the movement going up, going down. Right, so when we're here, we can... And then we can start to muck around now with the rhythm. Stately as the princes, the pretty bad words, but anyway, I didn't write it. Stately as Princess Thee, swans part the lily and glide under the willows. Now you could even muck around willows. You can muck around, start changing it here. So now you're starting to become a bit of a composer yourself, even though, so you've had a start, right? You've had a start, someone's showing you a piece. Now you've got to think about changing things a little bit. And that's the beginning of being a composer as well. Because now, so you've got a skeleton to work with, right? So instead of starting completely from scratch. So you can think of any piece, right? And think, oh, it's just a boring piece, right? But you can make that piece your own. And even though it's a simple piece, and it doesn't have to be simple, you can make it as complex as you like. Right? And you will end up, your fingers will automatically, as you keep on going through this method, eventually your fingers will just move. They'll just move. And and these are why the exercises are good too. Right? So with your left hand now, you want to do things with your left hand. I've included, let's go straight there now, to the patterns. I did show you these. I've got quite a few patterns here, so I'll just go through them. And they're left-hand patterns only, so they're all the same patterns, they're just flowing over different chords. So this is really only 7 of them, but they're just going over different chords, G. And when they're going over the minor, it becomes a minor third, right, rather than a major third. So you see these are minuses instead of the plus. But the pattern is the same. It's the same, it's just a different third. All right, so the first one is 1, 5, 1, and we just go up and down, right? Next one is, right, index. So we're left on index is on 4, thumb on 5. Sorry, index is there, and my ring. And 5. 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5. Then we got pinky on 1 and 2. There's the 1 and 2. So we start to go up, and then we go down, starting on up. So 1, 3, 5, and then come back straight down. So that's playing just the chord, right? 1, 3, 5. So what are we doing here? It's 1, 3, 5. Then we come down 3, 1, right? Then we go up to 2, 3. So it's 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then we listen for the melody. Now instead of playing it straight, right? Instead of playing it just straight, you can now add your rhythm there too. And you can add any rhythm you like. You can just make up your own. So, and you can muck around with that, right? But there's the pattern on your left hand. So what do we have here? We've got left pinky, PM. Wait a sec, that's not supposed to be there. So actually I'll fix that up right now. You can get a quick demo of how I behind the scenes of fixing up my website. So I design the lessons on the website. And it's a good tool. So if we go into courses on the right here, and we go John Thompson, and we go 5. So I'll go down to those exercises. So, because I was doing a lot of copy and paste, and I probably just didn't remove something there. So you got a P there, right? It doesn't make sense, right? You can't press one note with 2 fingers. Well, maybe you can. I've never tried it, but you never know. Okay, I think that's good. No, I think it was the left middle. We start on the middle, right? So I just publish that, like that, and like that, and then I just get back into it. Now this needs to be, for some reason, you've got to refresh this about 3 times to clear the cache. 4 times now. There we go, it's cleared. So it's gone now here. Let me bring it up. Can you actually see it? I've got to be careful because it disappears behind this keyboard here, and I need to be showing you this. So, all right, so let's look at this again. Start from this one. So left pinky 1. And then 3, 5, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3. So it's pretty easy, right? It's not difficult. Once you understand how to follow these, they're quite powerful because they give you all the information about your fingers. Because a lot of the times is the hard bit when you see a piece of music is trying to work out what fingers you're using, you know, and to play. Once you get those fingers, then you're relying on muscle memory. But if we break it down into patterns like this, it's giving you more memory associations because now you know it's a chord. You're playing over a particular chord. You've got the intervals. You've got the fingers as well. You look down. We don't use this as a crutch, right? So it's giving you way more information than just using muscle memory. And eventually the muscle memory will kick in. And if you play a piece the same way, well, it's just going to be your muscle memory, right? But this gives you the power to play it in different ways, the piece, because you understand that it's a chord, right? And you understand what the basic intervals are doing. So then you say, oh, if it's doing a 5, how would it, if I went to a 6, how would that sound, you know? Or what if I put a 2 in there, you know? So it gets you thinking, right? So you're not just complete, doing what you're told. You know, there's the sheet, to play it the way it is. So, because music's creative. It's creative. Why they teach music like this is beyond me. You know, really, it is. Well, I think I know why, but I'm not going to go into it. But it's very rigid, right? Must do it like this. Must do it like this. Why? You can be flexible. Oh, you can start this. You can use this. I mean, it's good as a foundation or as a skeleton, a bit of a skeleton. Say, okay, we start with this, but let's add to it. You know, be creative. All right. So these exercises. So these are all the same. They're just over different chords now, right? So these are all major chords there. So the G and the F are the major chords, right? And E is the same pattern again, but it's a minor third when we get to the 3. But it's the same pattern, 1, 3, 5. And there's the F, 1, 3, 5. There's the G, right? Same exercises. So there's only 7 exercises. So once you get them good on one finger, you can just move it over to F, move it over to G. And try using some of those with the piece, because you'll see the piece. I've actually designed those exercises to match the music anyway. So here's the 4, 5, right, over here. But it depends what chord you're on, right? So if that there is the F, and it's using 1, 2, right? So there's C, D, E, F. There's the F. That's a G there. So it's the 1, 2 exercise, right? If we're going to be on that chord, right, we're going to be on the chord down there. So you can practice joining the pattern, right? Now, if you want, you can match it up exactly how the sheet music is, but it's good to practice separately anyway with the separate hands. But these are very simple because, you know, it's only the root of the chord. It's just one note, and then it's a simple pattern. So you want to get into joining the hands with these pretty quickly. All right, let's keep it like that. Not sure how long I went for, but doesn't really matter. 33 minutes. It's probably a good size for a lesson. Okay, so there's John Thomas exercise 5. So have fun with that, and I'll try to improve these each time I go. I always try to get better at presenting it, but I really need some feedback. I need people communicating to me and writing in the comments. So if you can give me some feedback, if this is helpful for you, if I'm going too fast or it's too easy, it's hard to know. You know, I try to put my head inside a student's head best I can. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll go, and I'll see you next John Thompson. Okay, bye.